Oh. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurudeva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Narayana. Hari Om and greetings from Niagara Falls. Have you ever been caught up in a long rope or a net or mesh? Is that a strange question for me to ask? Imagine you're running while you're playing soccer and you run into the net, and you have a hand through one hole and your foot's through another hole. This has happened before. You have to work with these examples. Okay, so Vyasa. I was given this heat sheet after the Cleveland half marathon because it was cold, and I brought it home because I knew Vyasa would enjoy playing with this because it's shiny, but it's long and he's small, so he gets caught up in it. And when you're caught up in rope, net, mesh, heat sheet, you can't move that. Our scriptures are sometimes called Shabda Jala. This is a net of words. And if you get caught in this net of messages, you cannot grow. Upadesha Sara is not a net of words. Upadesha Sara is the opposite. This is the simplest teachings which every one of us can internalize and grow with. There has been a lot of discussion about these words: meditation, contemplation, reflection. Try to be clear about these terms, because when we're clear, we will know the difference between the means and the ends. And so I'm going to go through all of these similar sounding words to encourage clarity. Let's go from the ends to the means. The ends is meditation. This is meditation with a capital M. This is our nature. This is independent joy. Meditation is a noun. Clear? Having forgotten who I am, having forgotten that I am the source of joy, meditation has devolved from a noun into a verb. And so I say I'm meditating. That is the means that is going to lead me to the ends, which is meditation. Now that's confusing. How can this be the means and ends, the verb and noun? Which is why Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda uses the word contemplation. Contemplation is the means, meditation is the ends. What the world calls meditation is actually contemplation. Another word in Vedanta for contemplation is nididhyasana. Now, to reach this means, which is quite demanding, quite subtle, quite evolved, how do you get to nididhyasana? What comes before that? Manana. And the English word for that would be reflection. Reflection evolves to contemplation, which evolves to meditation. Other words for reflection is to think, vichara, etc., etc. Now, how do you get to reflection or manana? Through shravana. The word I like to think of when it comes to shravana is not listening, which is more of the translation, but observation. When you become more observant of your actions, your intentions, when you become more observant about people, that's shravana that's going on. That is listening that's going on. You don't just listen with your ears, you also listen with your eyes, correct? Shravana leads to manana, to nididhyasana, to samadhi. In English, observation leads to reflection, leads to contemplation, leads to meditation. The framework is defined now. These are the words that we're going to use. Be clear about the means and ends. There's only one ends. There's lots and lots and lots of means. One ends. In Shloka 4, Sri Ramana talks about the evolution of our sadhana, our disciplines, our practices. We begin with puja, which involves thoughts, words, and actions. More demanding is japa, which is just thoughts and words, and more evolved, demanding, purifying is chinta, chintana, which would be contemplation, nididhyasana, which is just our thoughts. The purer our mind, the more we can abide in what we are thinking of. The last thought that we will all have tonight is, I want to sleep, I want to sleep. And the evolution of this thought is to let go of that thought, and what will you be doing? Sleeping. The last thought we will all have is, aham brahmasmi, aham brahmasmi. I am infinite, and then that thought will abide. In other words, I'll transcend that thought and I will rediscover I am infinity, but I don't have to think it. I know it. A lot of you have come on our Chinmaya Inspiration Yatras, and if you have, once a month we have our Yatri Satsang, and we're studying a lovely text called Manashodhanam, how to purify the mind. The RAM, or the Ram, the reflection adventure of the month given to all of our Yatris was to make the mantra of the month Aham Brahmasmi. When you go to Starbucks, they have a flavor of the month. When you go to Baskin Robbins, they have an ice cream of the month. We have a mantra of the month, and that is Aham Brahmasmi. So I'm sharing with you what our last thought will be. And what's also cool about all of these courses, in last night's Manashodhanam class, the shloka we're about to study in Upadesha Sara was referenced yesterday. That to truly appreciate Upadesha Sara, one has to be studying Manashodhanam. To truly appreciate meditation in life, you have to study Upadesha Sara. There's many layers of studying that is needed. The more pure our mind, the more we will abide in peace. And I think of this like an organ donation. What I've learned about organ donations through movies, which means it's right because it's in a movie, right? That I'm given some sort of medicine to decrease my immunity. Then they transfer this organ into my ecosystem. Suppose it's a kidney or a liver. And the more pure the match between my ecosystem and that alien, then that organ is accepted. But if that alien is not accepted into my ecosystem, then that organ transfer is a fail. It dies. Maybe I die. An impure mind is like that. There's glimpses of peace, but then it dies away, and I keep saying how restless my mind is. Sri Ramana changes our direction by taking us from a controlled environment, puja, japa, chinta, to the uncontrolled environment of seva. Please repeat. Jagata ishadhi yukta sevanam. Jagata ishadhi yukta sevanam. Ashtamurti bhrid deva pujanam. Ashtamurti bhrid deva pujanam. Together. Jagata ishadhi yukta sevanam. Ashtamurti bhrid deva pujanam. Jagata means that which is forever changing. Jagata means the universe or the multiverse. Isha is like Ishwara, the creator of this multiverse, the controller of this multiverse. And Dhi is like Buddhi, our intellect, our understanding. This first quarter, what is being shared is, we should try to have the understanding that the creator, the controller of this entire universe is Ishvara, is God. Understanding, another word for this is vision, is facilitated by knowledge. Do you live by vision? Yes or no? One person's trash is another person's treasure, no? Our eyes see the same, but it's my understanding that is different. The new Spider-Man movie comes out tonight, Venom. Tom Hardy is the best actor or not the best actor? It depends on your vision. The fact is he is, but it depends on your vision. Now, I want to share with all of you what Swami Chinmayananda teaches before he begins his revolutionary, evolutionary discourses on the Bhagavad Gita. What does he begin with? The logic of spirituality. How many of you have seen these talks before on the logic of spirituality? If you haven't, if you want to be serious about this shloka, you must watch these talks on the logic of spirituality. I think they're on YouTube fully and freely. But I'll tell you in essence what Swamiji's focus is. And you know all of this. The first logic, the first law when it comes to spirituality, an effect can never be without a cause. An effect can never be without a cause. Everyone agrees? Everyone's flowing with that? There can't be this water bottle, which is an effect, without metal, which is the cause. That metal is an effect cannot be there without the ore, which is coming from the earth, which is the cause. And you keep on going like that. An effect can never be without a cause. The second law, effects are plural. In other words, one cause can have multiple effects. effects. Going back to nature, if wood is the cause, in this ashram there's so many effects. This stage, our books, the floor, the drywall to a certain degree, all of this is multiple effects from the one cause, which is trees. Yes? Any rejections so far? The third is, from the effect, if the cause is removed, nothing remains. From the effect, if the cause is removed, nothing remains. How many of you are wearing earrings right now? Nose rings? Toe rings? Finger rings? If you're wearing any sort of gold ornament, earrings, nose ring, finger rings, and you remove the gold, what happens to those ornaments? Those ornaments become non-existent, correct? So Swami Chinmayananda shares that these have to be clear before you can appreciate Bhagavad Gita. Now, when Sri Ramana says, we should have the vision that this multiverse is created and controlled by God, it seems quite logical that the cause pervades the effect. The creator is in creation. And if I really internalize that, then the next quarter says, Yukta Sevana. Yukta means in an integrated way. I should be engaged in seva. Seva means serving. Seva does not mean volunteering. When it comes to volunteering, there's a force that's involved. Seva or service has to be natural. What is my email address? lifeseva@gmail.com. When people who don't know the word seva, then they think it's life seva. You know, like those lifesavers, but I'm just saying it in some sort of slang. Why is your email address a candy? Seva is when separation is erased. Service is when the distinguishing factors between you and I are made less absolute, made less real, made less relevant. So these movements, the movements towards the environment, the movements towards equal pay, those are lovely movements because it is erasing separation, erasing this trees and I are different, etc., etc. Another word for seva would be dana. In the terminology of Bhagavad Gita, it's dana. What does dana mean? If you take this literally, it means charity. The more full meaning is generosity. Why are some people generous and other people not? What makes someone generous and another person conjuice? What does conjuice mean? Miserly. Kripanaha. Let's ask each other first. How many of you, if you were to write your eulogy right now, that is your description of your life, how many of you would describe yourself as being generous? By a show of hands. There is a complete lack of confidence when it comes to us being open about our virtues or vices. Generosity comes from being grateful. When someone feels abundant, they can't contain that and they share it. They find ways to share that. What we see all around us in terms of seva, dana, there's a need that I become aware of and then I participate in that. So it's reactive. But someone who's truly following this first line of teaching, I am acting out of fulfillment. This is proactive. I am living in the minimum so I can give the maximum. This is my lifestyle. To volunteer is to be a part-time server. This is a hobby. And Sri Ramana is saying, not acceptable. I have to be serving. This is full-time. This is my lifestyle. Earlier, some of us were discussing our service revolves around our life. That's called volunteering. When my life revolves around serving, that's called seva. So what is the locus? What is the hub of your life? Sri Ramana continues and says, Ashta. Ashta means 8. Murti, form. Brid. Ashta Murti Brid. That which has this form that's composed of 8 parts. Sanatana Dharma is great because there's so much visualization. 1 is used often, correct? Advaita, oneness. 2 is used often. We see Bhagavan Shiva and Mother Parvati. That's 2, that's like 1. 3 is used often. The tenses, the worlds. 4 is used often. The Vedas, and on and on and on. What is 8 significant of? Remind me in this dialogue part to tell you why Bhagavan Rama is born on the 9th and Bhagavan Krishna is born on the 8th. There's significance to that too. Here, this form made up of 8 begins with the 5 elements. The 5 elements. Let's go from far away to close. The grossest element, that which is most tactile, is earth. Earth is number 8. Closer than that, water. Water is subtler. Closer than that, fire. Closer than that, air. Closer than that, space. Got that? Space. Earth, water, fire, air, space. Closer than that, what is often referenced is the moon. And the moon is the icon for the mind. Closer than that, number 2 is the sun. The moon gets its light from the sun. But if you internalize this more, it's the intellect. When are most people admitted to a hospital, or when are most crimes taking place during a month? During a full moon. That's when people become lunatics. There is a strong connection between that. The moon affects our mind. How many of you chant Gayatri Mantra every day? Who do you pray to when you chant Gayatri Mantra? The sun, no? The way the sun makes all that I see clear, I want that same brilliance in my intellect. And number 1, what is the closest entity, the closest facet to us? The jiva or ego. So these are the 8. The ego, through the intellect mind, that is our inner world, interacts with the space, air, fire, water, earth, which is the outer world. Now remember, Sri Ramana has already said the cause pervades the effect. The cause is Ishvara, so really, is there an ego? Is there space? Is there separation? The word Deshika is often attributed to Acharya Shankara. A lot of us have studied Atma Bodha together and Moha Mudgara together. A Deshika is someone who can see what I can't see, what we can't see. So they point out that in this ashram, I'm trying to light up the diya, the lamp. They point out the matches are right behind the Prabhavali. Now, did they have to put the matches there? The matches are already there. They're simply giving me this knowledge so that I can benefit. I'm using those matches to light a diya. Now, Sri Ramana is giving us the knowledge that everything, outside and inside, is godly, is divine. And for someone who's a master, someone who internalizes this fully, the whole multiverse becomes their shrine. They live a divine life. That's Swami Shivananda's organization, correct? The Divine Life Society. And he did live like that. All they have experienced is divinity and they act like that. Even our Puja Swami Chinmayananda, he never had a traditional sthana. He never had a traditional altar. For all of the university and college students, do you have an altar in your room? I'd like to see. How many of you have an altar in where you sleep? I asked all the university and college students. All of their parents have their hands up right now. So Swami Chinmayananda never had such an altar because he believed the people who would come and listen to him speak on the Upanishads, on Bhagavad Gita, were his devatas. And in Sanatana Dharma, what do we offer to our gods? Flowers. He offered mantra pushpa. His teachings were those flowers. He never treated a listener as a listener, a seeker as a seeker. He treated them like this is his worship. This is his service. Sri Ramana puts closure to this by describing this vision, this engagement as Deva Puja. This is one connecting to the divine. Swami Tejramayananda shared with us when we were studying this, awareness brings meaning. If you're doing something but you're not aware of it, are you actually doing that something? Are you growing with that something? We're deeply engaged in implementation, but do we know the intention behind our implementation? The more aware we are, the more conscious we become, the more attentive we become, the more careful we become with an experience, the more we understand that experience and can go deeper. Are you an idol worshiper? Do you worship idols? I have the luxury of interacting with a lot of evangelical Christians. How it happens, I don't know, but it happens. And one of their first remarks to me is, I am a pagan, and where do pagans go? To hell. And my response to that is, everyone worships idols, including you. Is the cross not an idol? When someone does namaz towards Mecca, is Mecca an idol? Is the happy face an idol? Is the chocolate ice cream / poo emoji an idol? Everyone. Is your wedding ring an idol? Is this tilak an idol? Is that an idol? Once, Swami Vivekananda was at a merchant's home in England. And this merchant was describing his forefathers. His uncle was like this, his grandfather was like this. And he was sharing this in a condescending way. I've photographs of my rich uncles, powerful uncles, and you have photographs of elephants and monkeys. And Swami Vivekananda asked one of those workers, can you take down one of these photographs? So he did. Can you put this photograph on the ground? And he did, and this merchant was kind of observing. And then he said, now I want you to spit and jump on that photograph. And that merchant became livid. What are you asking him to do? And Swamiji simply said, is that a photograph or your uncle? See, for that merchant, that's his uncle, isn't it? It's not a photograph. For Vivek, that's just plastic and colors. We worship idols to reach the ideals. The idols are a form and name for the ideal. This is the nama and rupa for the satta. Don't deny it. What's great about Sanatana Dharma is there's so much acceptance that the mind needs an idol, but we don't just take it at the surface level. We want to know what's behind this. Now expand that to everything we do. I don't just go to work. I shouldn't just have kids. I shouldn't just be in college. What is the point of all of this? Go deeper, and you will find that ideal. So the last thought from this shloka. In Sanatana Dharma, a lot of us have a relationship with Bhagwan, with Ishvara, that's based on fear or I keep thinking of banking. I have this relationship with God so God doesn't punish me, or I have a relationship with God so God can give to me. True statement? Because God's over there. I've externalized God. Sri Ramana is saying, fine. The first place you should find divinity is in a murti. Is in an idol. That was the focus of all of the last shloka, correct? Puja, japa, chinta. And if you're a steady, sincere seeker, that divinity will go from the murti to madhyama. Madhyama means my center, my core. So first I see God outside, then I feel God inside. And having studied this verse, then from madhyama to manava. Manava means humans, animals, plants, that which is organic, that which is alive. Manava seva is Madhava seva. This verse is taking us to a new depth, a new dynamism. Narayana.